Welcome, friends. Today, we're doing another fragrance rotation video for the week ending the 8th of January 2023. A week is a long time in fragrance. Yes. This time last week I was struggling to smell anything. And while I have improved this week, I'm not back to 100%. Smell or just generally the way I feel. But I am improving, and that's the main thing. As long as I keep improving, that's all right, you know? So, here we are. It's been a rather good week, actually. I've worn something for the first time. There's mainly designers. There's a couple of niche. There's a few niche. There's 4 designers, 3 niche. So we shall start, as per usual, at the beginning. And on Monday, I wore Queer Canage by Dior. Fantastic autumn-winter perfume. You can't see the writing on that at all, can you? Hold on. I'm fiddling with the light, but it's not helping. Let's have a look. There you go. That's a bit better, isn't it? Hopefully. Anyway. Queer Canage. Leather, iris, orange flower. This kind of syrupy, thick, kind of gooey gloop at the top. And that's what I get from the orange flower. It's lovely. This is fantastic. And I know orange flowers are a white floral of sorts. It's a tiny little bit indolic. It's got a bit of birch in, or at least I can smell a bit of birch. It fucking wears beautifully as well, you know. This is sneakily one of my favourite privés, you know. Like, it's absolutely fantastic. The sprayer on this is acting funny buggers, though. It's sometimes it sprays, sometimes it doesn't, and I don't like that. I want it to work all the time, especially when I've got 250 mils of this shit. I've also got a 400 mil splash, God. But I'm actually glad that I do now, because I don't want to be without this stuff, if I'm being perfectly honest. It's fantastic. These old privés are magnificent. It's not even, I know they went through a huge reformulation in 2017. Most of them did anyway. I'm not sure if this did, but most of them did. And they were changed for the worse, frankly, most of the ones that were out then. But the real crime, well, one of the real crimes, was that they started releasing total shit afterwards. They must have released about 25 new privés, and they were almost all shit. Awful perfumes. Absolute bullshit perfumes. You know, they were rubbish. They were apparently aiming for the Far Eastern market, and in case it had escaped your attention, I am not in the Far East, so they weren't necessarily aimed at me, and I didn't particularly like them. I don't know that they sold very well in the Far East. Maybe they didn't like them either. Maybe they wanted the leather ouds and the bloody Bois d'Argents and the fucking Amber Nuits, and they were getting Diorama and Dior fucking something else and Rouge Trafalgar and all that bollocks. Shocking what happened to this line, you know? Absolutely awful. But this was a highlight. It's one of the best perfumes of the last 10 years. I might do a video like that, actually. 2010s wasn't a great decade for me, perfume-wise. Perfume release-wise. Obviously, with the amount of perfumes that were released, some of them had to be good. Just most of them weren't. I'm talking a vast majority as well. 85, 90% were just, for me, write-offs. But there we go. Anyway, I don't know how or why I allowed that to happen on this video, but I've just made a rant for about 5 minutes on the first perfume. I promise I will go through the rest much quicker. Anyway, Queer Canage by Dior. Fantastic. Brilliant. I was so enamoured with Cuisinart on Monday, I decided to wear on Tuesday, another one of the best Dior Privés. And this is Patchouli Imperial. This is immense. Sandalwood, patchouli, ambery kind of thing, you know. This is like my type of patchouli. It reminds me a bit of this, the Eau de Toilette version. Oh, God almighty. I've just dropped Cuisinart, but it's all right, don't worry. The tripod's fucked, though, for the light, but never mind. Bois 1920, Real Patchouli. This is fantastic. That's not what I wore, but this type of patchouli is my favourite. Rich, deep, syrupy, thick. I'm not too keen on the more scratchy, light, sort of abrasive kind of patchoulis you can get, like Kritzian Moods and stuff. Not huge on that. I much prefer them when they're deep, rich, syrupy, thick, milky. Like basically when you pair them with sandalwood, fantastic. You know, brilliant. This is, again, one of my favourite Dior Privés. Don't know if it is my favourite, but it's up there. It's a really good wear as well, you know. If you want something ambery, I think you could wear this in most seasons. Maybe on a cool summer's day. It could become a little bit thick and rich, but not sweet. Strangely, it's got a little bit of sweetness, but it's like a natural kind of occurring sweetness, you know, not overwhelming. And that's Patchouli Imperial, which I wore on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I decided to go for something completely different, while still being a designer. Something completely the opposite from the previous two, and this is Gucci Guilty Absolute. Again, one of the best releases of the 2010s. This is immense. Absolutely fantastic. No sweetness whatsoever. Zero, zilch. It is smoky. It's dry. It's medicinal. It's clean, but in a cleansed with fire kind of way, you know. It's not clean in the kind of way that it's not like fresh. It's clean, but it's not fresh, if that makes sense. It's not like citrusy at all or anything. You know, I think the notes are like vetiver, leather, and papyrus, and it's got that dry smokiness, you know. One of my friends who was a chef, I'll never forget, he once said to me, if you want to keep something clean, keep it dry. And I was like, I'd never thought of it like that before. And he's right, you know. Nothing grows where there is no water. Look at the Atacama, you know. And that's kind of what this is like. It is bone dry, and it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Thursday I went with something not completely different, but not quite the same. And this is legendary Antaeus by Chanel. Fantastic. Again, this is quite dry. But not all the way through. There are bits of... It speaks to how good of a perfumer Jacques Paul's really is. Or was. And this has facets in it. It does different things at different times. It can be a little animalic. It can be a little bit sweet, just a little bit sweet, but from the floral mid, you know, like the rose. The rose gives it a little bit of sweetness. And I do mean a little bit, by the way. It's a little bit mossy, earthy. Can be a little bit dank, and you'd think all of these things would clash. No, not that they would clash. What would they do? You wouldn't be able to get all of that into one perfume. But Poudre has managed it, you know? Poudre managed it because he's an excellent perfumer. I should really review this, but it's a titan of a perfume, and I would like to make sure I got it right, you know? One of my favourites. This is the modern formulation, which I still use. I have 2 vintages, and I still use the modern one, you know? Buy with confidence. The modern one is still fantastic. Fear not, you know? It's a tremendous perfume. Don't get us wrong, I'm glad I've got the vintages. And when this has run out, I'll start to use the vintages. But until then, I am perfectly happy using this. So fear not. Friday. Friday I went with something... Is it completely different? Very different, but not completely different. This is Russian Tea by Masca Milano. Sweet from the mint and the raspberry, but then it's contrasted with the birch and the dark tea. There's like a dark tea note, you know, and it's really nice. I really like this. This is one of the first perfumes that turned me on to put me onto Julien Rasquinet as a perfumer, and I absolutely love it. It's got a little bit of leather in there as well. He's managed to restrain himself with the amber woods in this one, which is, you know, a boon, because amber woods to me it's just headache. It just smells like headache. And I really like this stuff. You can still get from their website the 100ml versions, and I would actually prefer 100ml of this. I like the bottles, they're nice, don't get us wrong. 35ml is such an odd size, you know? It really is a very odd size. But the bottles are nice, you know? And I like this. Tea, mint, raspberry. I get the raspberry hugely. Something a little bit dry about it as well. Could be the birch, you know? Dry and maybe smoky. So there might be something like an incense, maybe. It doesn't come across as an incense note, it just comes across a little bit dry. It's more like a feeling than an actual smell. Aha, yesterday, Saturday, if you will. And even if you won't. This is my rather weathered looking bottle of Tabac Rouge. This is probably my favourite tobacco perfume. Can't think of many better. Vanille Havan's really good. Fumery Turk's really good. Pure Havan shit. I don't like Pure Havan actually. I've got a couple of bottles of it, but I don't know. They're not. It's not my favourite kind of tobacco. Nah, too sweet, too much cherry, not enough tobacco. This is tobacco, and strangely, when they first released this, in the notes, they didn't list tobacco, and it was like slight oversight there. You know, you've kind of you've missed the main note out. It was like, I'm sure there was like an accord of like cinnamon and vanilla, and then when they rebottled it and did like another press release for the like this perfume and the rest of the brand, I think they included the note of tobacco because clearly it was there. You know what I mean? But to me, this is tobacco vanille, but a little bit less of a punch in the face. It's warm. It's a little bit spicy. It's sweet. There's a little bit of like zing in there, you know. To me, it smells a lot like pipe tobacco, like tobacco that you put in a pipe, and it's in the pipe, but it's before you've lit it, so it's still got that moisture. You know, I'm sure there's like a honey sort of thing going on. But it's like a syrupy, sweet kind of honey. You know how you can get like honeyed tobaccos and stuff. But it's got that depth. It's very... It's complex without having too much motion in it. You know, there's depth. It's a deep, deep perfume. It feels like that tobacco note like goes down and goes on forever. Like taking a deep breath, you know. It's wonderful. I absolutely love it. The bottle, though, the standard of the bottle. I mean, I understand that we're like a new house and you've got to save money where you can, but Jesus, the wrapping that has been used around the bottle, it's not ideal. Like, it's coming off. But to be honest, I don't mind. I've had this perfume for a few years now. As you can see, I've put a bit of a hole in it. A dent in it, I beg your pardon, but a hole in it, Jesus. And I really like this. I haven't smelled the stuff in the new bottles. I don't know if it's been reformulated, but this version I absolutely love. And I'm glad I've got it. And sometimes I just sit and look at it and think, no, not today. And then sometimes I go to sleep the night before and I'm like, I'm wearing that tomorrow. And I rarely do that with any perfume. I have a bond with this perfume, an affection for it. Like, to the point where I don't feel like I need, like, other tobacco fragrances. It's like, I've got that, don't need anything else, you know? Anyhow, today's scent of the day is a debut for a perfume I bought rather recently from a friend who lives local to me. I've discussed him before. He is a seller of Frederick Malle and Tom Ford and Joe Malone, and he has other perfumes as well, but he hasn't got back to us about those yet. And I bought this. This is an older bottle of Iris Poudre by Frederick Malle. You can tell it's an older bottle because it's got the pre-Estee Lauder batch code on it. Estee Lauder's batch codes are all 3 digits. This one's got like a 7-digit batch code on it. And the writing on the lid, this is a bottle of French Lover, which is an Estee Lauder version. As you can see, the script on the top is subtly different. That's deeper and thicker. That's obviously thinner and a little bit more shallow. This is amazing, right? I was worried. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. I was worried when I went to buy this off the man. Because I'd smelled Iris Poudre. I'd in fact bought a 10ml once, and before I had left the store, I'd sprayed some from a bottle onto my skin. And I liked it at first, and then after about 15-20 minutes, it just turned into what can only be described. Eugene described it best. He said it smells like an old lady at a grand ball in a big dress, right? And that's what it smelled like. This is the previous version, and it smells very different, right? It smells very different. It's much less powdery. It's more clean. It's fresher. It's more the kind of iris I like. The newer version is much more billowy. It's cloudy. It's like it's powdery, like a. Do you know when you see the old shows where they would get the erasers from school and they would bash them together and it would create a huge cloud of chalk dust? That's what powder smells like to me. You know, irisy, powdery stuff. I prefer iris when it's more waxy, when it's more defined, when it's sharper. And that's what this is like. It's cool, it's calm, it smells a lot younger. And that's why I bought this bottle. It was a great price as well, to be fair. But that's why I bought this bottle of this. And I really like this version. The previous one didn't do it for me. The newer one didn't do it for me. This one, much nicer. And this is my scent of the day, and I am enjoying it greatly. So that is my rotation for the first week of January 23. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I appreciate it, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.